Hello everybody. Recently during a video I confessed to the fact that I love video games. Well, somebody who saw the video asked me, what video games do I like? Well, I'm afraid that if I get into that, well, what I should say, I'm afraid that as I get into that I realize that this is going to be a multi-part video. So here's part one. First, I'll start off by showing you various different platforms with which I play, and I'll talk about some of the games. Okay, to start, there's my Super Nintendo. That is actually the second game system I ever bought. I can't show you my Atari system because it's been gone for a long time. That's my Nintendo 64, which is what I got after that. Then we got the Xbox. And after that, we got the GameCube. Now I have all four of these systems connected to my TV. We use this little switch box up here to switch between games. There's actually two switch boxes there because I got one for the games and I have one to switch between my satellite system and my DVD player. And actually I just recently got a new video card for my computer and I can run video from my computer to this TV as well. We'll talk about that part a little bit later. These are mostly games. There are some movies in there. The second to the bottom shelf is all DVDs, but all the rest of what you see here are games, mostly. There are some DVDs scattered in there and some VHS, actually, believe it or not. That's an old joystick for my computer that I can't make work. It just stopped one day and I don't have it working anymore. Hey, look, there's my tripod. I'll be using that in just a little bit. There's my CPU. And where I sit at the computer. And last but not least, Santa Claus this year bought us, or brought to us, a nice little gift. The Nintendo DS. DS Lite, actually. Currently we only have 4 games, but we also got this nice little case for it with a place for an extra stylus and for the car charger and earphones. And this is the DS Lite. This is totally cool, but I'll talk more about this in a little bit. Now on to the games. First I'll talk about some of the games from my first system, the Super Nintendo. Actually, like I said, it's not my first system, but I don't have anything left from the Atari system that I had. Unfortunately, I might be rich if I did, but it was cool and all, but Pong kind of got old after a while. But anyway, I'll start talking about the Super Nintendo games because that was where gaming got really fun for me. One of the first games I got was Krusty's Super Fun House. This was an absolute kick to play. It got a little difficult to get to the next level after a certain point, but I got access to a cheat code and was able to get to all the levels and play around with it all. This was a fun game. After Krusty's Super Fun House, I started playing this game. This is called Mystic Quest. This is an adventure type game that really had a wonderful story, had decent gameplay, and it was interesting to keep me going all the way through to the end. I had a blast playing Mystic Quest. After that, I played Seventh Saga. Seventh Saga was a little more difficult than Mystic Quest, but a similar type game, an adventure game, save the world kind of game. This was a lot of fun. It got a little difficult. As a matter of fact, at one point I pulled this thing out of my Super Nintendo and threw it across the room and broke it. but it's still playable. Sometimes games get a little frustrating for me. Pilot Wings. Pilot Wings is a game, it's a flight school game where you go to different classes and learn how to fly various different flying implements, such as airplanes, jetpacks, hang gliders, and parachutes. This was a lot of fun too. I got to the point where I got to the last lesson and couldn't get any further and never have gotten any further, but everything up to that point is a blast, and I actually still play this sometimes. Gradius 3. Whoa boy, this was really a lot of fun. This one got me dizzy after a while. I played it so much. This was a blast of a game. Again, very difficult, never made it to the end, but still a lot of fun. I'm going to talk about Zelda for a second here, because the Zelda series is the reason why I still play video games. But I did not like this game very much. I was used to the 7th Saga and the Mystic Quest, and I didn't enjoy this game, the very first Zelda. What's it called anyway? Link to the Past. Did not enjoy it. I have it though. Okay, on to the Nintendo 64. It's that little green thing right there. That's not my first Nintendo 64. I've had to replace it once. It broke down. I have a lot of Nintendo 64 games, but here are my favorites. Rampage. Oh my god. You take on the role of a huge gorilla or a dinosaur, and you tear apart cities and knock down buildings and get points for it. And you eat people. This is a crazy game. It is a blast though. A real blast. Bomberman 64. This is a really fun game too. My son and I played this game over and over and over and over. We loved it. Had a blast. Top Gear Overdrive. I haven't mentioned any other driving games. I do love racing games. This was one of the best at the point that I bought it. It's the best game I ever had. A driving game. One of the coolest things about this game is I noticed the soundtrack was really great. There was some really great rock music in the soundtrack. So I waited for the credits. I had to finish the game before I could get to the credits. But I finished the game, got to the credits, and found out who the band was, contacted the band, played them very high compliments on their soundtrack to this. The lead singer there was pretty impressed with that. As a matter of fact, I talked to him for years on the internet through email and stuff. It was pretty cool. 1080, snowboarding game. This was a lot of fun too. My son and I played this a lot. It's 2-player, downhill, fun stuff. On to the Zelda series. Zelda Ocarina of Time. This was probably, for years, in my opinion, the best game ever made for any platform anywhere. This is an absolutely incredible and fun adventure game. Very well written, the story is superb, the gameplay is excellent. My son learned to read at the age of 3.5 or 4 by playing Zelda. He could read through Zelda. I mean, this is how he learned to read. This is the Ocarina of Time. If you've never played this game, this is one of the best games ever. It's also available on the GameCube disc. I'll show you that at the next segment. This is next in the series of Zelda. This is called Majora's Mask. Not nearly as good as the Ocarina of Time, but this was a lot of fun. The gameplay was fun, very familiar characters and a whole new story. This was a lot of fun.